Hello, Vic. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. One of the important things in my mind is not just to become a, a musician, I mean, as we're studying percussion, but what we do with our lives, our train of thought when we're growing up and we're studying music. And your particular history is an interesting one because you were a classical timpanist for many years and then started a stick company. Your correlation between making sticks, being a better person, educating. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for the interview. It's a pleasure to chat and meet with you this morning. And that question you just asked has got about 6 points to it. So nail down the first one and I'll try to answer it properly.
Beautiful. It was a loaded question, but there's so many things to talk about with someone like you. You've done it great in many different ways, and not only in the music, but also as a human being. And I think that's really important ultimately. But what do you think?
Well, I think music is a very human emotion to make music and be a musician. And that's all part of what we do in our daily lives. It isn't like we're bridge builders or plumbers who don't have to have and deal with aesthetic temperaments and moody musicians. But we're much more of a human type, sensitive, I shouldn't say human, but sensitive type to work with.
Right. When you decided, when you were with the Boston Symphony for many years, I'm a classical percussionist as well, and a rock drummer, and turned everything else, and I realized that music was just music, and the instrument we play happens to be that. So I always try to expand my horizons. But when you began making the sticks, I remember I still own some of your original sticks that Louis Charbonneau in Montreal had sold to me.
That's when we hand branded them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what made you decide to go further than that?
Well, let me first of all say you say you were classically trained in a rock drummer. I started out playing jazz and had a 15-piece band, big band, that booked all over New England. And then I went to the conservatory and suddenly discovered a whole new channel of music making. I took a right turn and I never sat behind a drum set again. So we have similar backgrounds in that sense of the word. Now, I've just led you off course. What was the original question?
No, that's perfect.
Oh, how did I get into stick music?
Then what led you to making sticks?
Well, while in the Boston Symphony, I was asked to play a lot of pieces that there just were no commercial sticks available. So I thought, rather than gripe about it, why don't I design some myself? And I literally went and bought some 3S marching sticks, a spoke shave, a plane, some sharp tools, and a lot of sandpaper, and whittled the first stick, which was the SD1, and then the SD2 Bolero. That's how it began.
And I still have those, yes.
Yeah, talk about a primitive beginning.
And you did those yourself?
I did those myself in the woodshed in the evening, just killing time. And then I sent them to Montreal, to a woodturner I found up there, who hand-turned them, one at a time.
Okay.
Did a beautiful job.
And then you also, of course, your timpani mallets that you were making.
Timpani mallets followed very quickly.
Okay, beautiful. And for someone today to bring themselves into the music world, coming from any background, what would you suggest to them? Any
well,
musical
with my own students at the conservatory, there were those that wanted to do only one phase of it. And I said, you must be versatile, you must be flexible. If you can play in a rock band, do it. If you can play in a jazz band, do it. Play in a string trio, play anything but play. And find all the different modes of expression that you can do through your instrument. Don't just think you're going to be a timpani player and you will only play with the New York Philharmonic and that's it. You may never get there. And yet there may be alternatives that will be equally pleasurable and successful for you. That if you get into that niche, you'll have a pleasant musical life.
Right. And most of the people, I mean, I know from my experience at KoSA, because the KoSA camp we do each year, it's summer in Vermont. It's a total percussion, and I've always believed in that because it was my experience too. being a drum set player and then a classical player and then learning jazz. I actually have a degree in jazz also. And then I studied ethnomusicology, and then I was led to many other things. And then
You're way ahead of me.
well, but you were doing some great things, so you couldn't probably get out of that. But I could navigate with my group percussion, of course, all the different things. And then I thought, this is the way music should be taught and learned and shared, is to be able to do it all. There are 7 notes, right? And what you do with it is just a cultural thing, just learning the roots and going back and you know how you can compose and create with those elements now at that level. And I'm sure you've been doing that all your life, which is probably exactly what you did, taking the music idea, the level of artistry that you play in music as a timpanist and as a percussionist, and brought that to stick making. Why would it be different as an art form?
Well, I had an advantage over my competitors in that I played both sides of the fence. I started out playing jazz and understood what the sound should be from the stick on a ride cymbal, on the hi-hats, and also what the 4th movement of Tchaikovsky 5th sounds like. And so I blended the 2 schools of music making together and sort of came up with my own concepts of how you attack and teach and absorb the different musical colors and sounds that you contribute to the ilk of music that you're playing in. There's so many phases of music today. When I played drum set, you had 1 pair of sticks and 1 pair of brushes, and that was it. That was enough. We didn't even break sticks in those days. Nobody bashed like they do today. So the whole scope of what you do to make music and the kind of music you produce has run the gamut of simple to bombastic to crude to thrash metal to I don't know what we play today. But it's all universal and it's fun.
Right. No, and that's really interesting, and that analogy you made of being on both sides of the fence. And I think that's important to making really good music, because if you're stuck on one side or another, there's always an element missing. I'm finding, and I mean that's the way I approach it.
Yeah.
And I really respect people who have taken the time to explore and make that bridge, because it's really not a difference. When you're playing jazz is one thing, and you need to know the history. When you're playing classical, the
same notes, same sounds, same music,
Exactly.
different application.
Interesting. And then the world music, of course. We say world, but it's just the different cultures and,
Yes.
and their histories that we're bringing in. And the fact that you did it from that point of view, and also projected it into a product, I mean, which is the sticks, which is something we all need to use, like it or not. That's part of our instrument makeup.
Well, you better keep using them. My pension will disappear, for God's sake.
I think I'll be using them for a long time.
Me too.
Yes. Thanks very much, Vic. I mean, it's a real pleasure to have you. I mean, not only doing what you do, but just taking the time to meet with us.
It's a pleasure to chat with you, Aldo, and great respect for what you do and your contribution to young people in music. And do continue it and expand it. Gives the world something to look forward to.
Thank you. I shall.
Good luck.